So this is the only video you're gonna have to need. Welcome back. This is the only video you'll need to be able to watch the magical edition of the very first Harry Potter film. All right, the edit is done. I'm gonna show you how it. I'm actually gonna show you now the process, not the process, but I'm gonna show you how I actually did it. I'm gonna try my best to just do this in one take and not have to edit anything, because I asked my brother to edit the other video, and he just the amount of verbal abuse I received from him because of the things the choices I made for that video. But it was really funny. He was just like, why is the camera in the window? Why did you look like that? Why did you do it this way? That's terrible. That you're trash. Why are you even alive? Your mom doesn't love you. And I was just like, whoa, that's insane. So camera's not in the window. I've got a different setup. So I'm closer to you guys now. So what I want to do is I want to show you guys, this is the only video you'll ever need for the magical edition. All right, I'll show you how to get it for free, and you can show your friends. Once you download it, you'll have a copy of it forever. If you want to keep it, you can do whatever you want with the copy. So I'm gonna show you where you're gonna get it. Basically, the link is in the description. So basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to upload the film onto a Google Drive email that I just made. The email is harrypottermagicaledition@gmail.com. The link is in the description. You don't actually have to know the email. You just click on the link. The film should pop up, and you can just download it and watch it. And let me know then, guys, what you guys think of it in the comments. I have also one thing that I wanted to add was I have a Reddit now. I have a Reddit r/AdamTysius on Reddit. I just want you guys to. I just want to create a community online for people to just show up positive, but also if there's going to be negativity, like I said about my brother who just completely trashed me. I actually do have pretty thick skin, so if you guys want to just go on there and just trash me and be like, why the beep is this guy's camera in the window, by all means go on there and let me know what you guys think. But otherwise, positive. Get your fix, throw those insults at me, and then let's just be super wholesome. All right, I'm completely fine with that. In fact, I'll probably enjoy it, and I'll probably react to some of your comments that online in another video. But basically, let's just start by saying, let me just show you here. So this is the film, all right? Here we have the Harry Potter Magical Edition that I edited. As I said in the previous video, this one is actually probably the least edited film of mine. I just love this film. I have such a appreciation for this film. One of my favorite films of all time, if not the favorite. I just adore this movie. So many of the changes that I had made for this film are very tiny, and overall it's just basically the same film. What I've done is I've taken the extended edition of the film, removed deleted scenes that are actually detrimental to the pacing of the film, and then I just added in little things here and there for consistency and hints at stuff later to come in the franchise that they couldn't have done at the time. Yeah, so the first thing I could probably mention is, in this particular scene, if you've seen the movie many times, you know what the scene this is. This is the scene with the snake. So the snake just left the zoo, and he's about to talk to him. And I'll just play this video, and I'll actually comment on it in a second. Oops. I gotta be careful, because, copyright stuff, copyright infringement and that type of stuff with the audio. But listen to him talk here. So this is probably the biggest change I made in the film. And the change here is, in the original film, the snake talks. And actually, you can hear the words, human words, coming from the snake. And in my edit, I actually removed the dialogue and added in a snake sound. And what you can see is I actually was very particular about the way I edited the sound. The snake sound actually sounds like him saying thanks. If I go back a couple of seconds, you can actually hear, in the snake sound, him saying, you can almost hear the thanks in the hiss. So this is probably the biggest change, and this one might be the most controversial one. But the reason I did it was because I thought that, as we see in the rest of the franchise, snakes, we don't ever hear them actually speak human words. we assume that Harry can understand these actually can understand what the snake is saying, but he's not, like, we don't get to hear it. So, for example, in the next film after this, the snake is hissing at him and he's like talking back to it. And I just thought, for consistency's sake, tonally as well, the first film was very like kid friendly, and so it's very cartoony and the animals talk, and then later on they just kind of stop doing it. So there's this inconsistency between the first film and then the later series where, like, the animal talks and then it doesn't talk. So I actually just removed dialogue and added hissing sounds to make it more consistent with the rest of the series. But other than that, that's probably like the biggest change, and probably going to be the most controversial change, because some people might actually like the voice that was in the original. Here, what I have is the Magical Edition email that I'm going to upload the film into. So I'm just going to do that now. I'm going to go new, I'm going to go file, upload, right? And then what I'm going to do is actually do something instead. I'm going to go like that. Should I do folder upload? File upload is fine, I guess. Yeah, file upload. And then I'll just go into this one, and then I go like that. Yeah. And now it's going to be uploading, as you can see in the corner here. It's uploading, and it's going to take, I don't know, X amount of time. Who cares? But by the time this video comes out, it's going to be up there, and you can upload it by clicking on the link in the description, and let me know what you guys think. This is just the first film. The first film is ready. I'm still working on the other ones. I've been working for many years on the actual edits on the later series, and I'm very proud of what I've actually finished. Like, there's definitely scenes that I'm done, and I'm going to be able to talk about them later on in different episodes. But this episode today, chapter 2 of the diary, is going to be focusing mainly on the first film that is ready and that you now have access to. Alright, what are the changes that I make? Actually, here there's a deleted scene in the extended edition where basically Dudley he has his hand on the fire metal, and he's basically talking, and I removed that scene from the extended edition, from my version of the film, the Magical Edition, because it actually ruined the music from John Williams. It actually ruined the pacing. So in the theatrical version, there's this like beautiful piece by John Williams where the score flows from one scene to the other, and it's this like there's a certain rhythm to the way that the scene, how the scene flows. And having that scene just kind of randomly inserted in the middle of that sequence didn't work at all, pacing wise. So I removed that from the film. And obviously, just amazing music. I don't know what else to add to that. Oh yeah. One of the biggest problems, because I went online and I was like looking at what problems people had with the film, and one of the things people talked about was the CGI, and how the CGI really didn't look great at all. Actually, the fact that it was dated. I think I touched on it a little bit in the first video, but the CG in the first film isn't dated. It's just like it wasn't ready. That's one of the reasons why the director Chris Columbus for the film, he actually completely changed his approach for the second film and just started on the visual effects much earlier. Because in the first film, they actually started the visual effects process way too late, and by the time they were supposed to release the film, the visual effects weren't done, and he wasn't happy with it. So that's why a lot of it looks bad. And many people just think, well, it looks bad compared to films nowadays with great visual effects. But it actually looked bad at the time as well, which is sad because, like I said, I love this film a lot. And so what I've done in my edit is I've actually, in the Magical Edition, I've actually used the technology that I have today, which they didn't have at the time, and kind of just cleaned up some of the visual effects without actually doing too much. For example, here, this is probably one of the most famous examples of the visual effects looking bad. So when Hagrid does the magic with his wand and the bricks separate and we go into Diagon Alley for the first time, the visual effects on the bricks separating looks really bad. And what I've done is I've actually edited that part of it out. I've edited that particular part of that shot where it just looks really bad out of the actual sequence, and I think it works better if you'll watch it now.
You're the right person to tell you that, Harry.
Obviously, there's some of it left.
Welcome, Harry, to Diagon Alley.
Obviously, there's some of it left. You have to show a little bit. I couldn't take too much of the visual effects away, but most of it, like I say, I took away, and the music still works perfectly, and the effect is still there, but it's just shorter and less of the CGI. Like there's a shot there that I removed where Hagrid and Harry are standing there completely still, and we can see like the bricks moving like away from their face and like to the side, and they just looked like terrible green screen. So what I've done is I've removed that and made it better. Hopefully, I hope you guys enjoy it. This is my definitive version of the film. I just think it's better this way. What else have I done? Just kind of going through the film. Like I say, I'm gonna try to do it as quickly as possible because I don't want to edit this video, so I want this to be one take. The sets in these films are amazing, by the way. I do think a lot of the believability of Hogwarts in these films and just the believability of the magic in these films is the sets. Like, there's a lot of kids' films that come out that people just kind of, just like, it doesn't feel real, or people just kind of underestimate. There's like, it's just kids' films. It doesn't have to be that great. It's just for kids. Who cares? Which is an approach I completely disagree with. But the sets in this are just so believable and detailed, and that's why I think the magic really works. Oh, and also the color grading and everything, and the cinematography. Fun fact: the cinematographer of this film also did Mad Max: Fury Road. Yeah, which is kind of crazy. Not a lot of people know that, but this film actually brought a lot of just great people. It's like geniuses from all different fields, and just put them together to make this movie. It's really crazy how, like, the crew of this film is insane. Like, we all talk about the cast because that's what we see, but like, you're getting the cinematographer from Mad Max: Fury Road. You've got John Williams, arguably the best film composer of all time. You've got amazing sound designers. You've got amazing. You got Stuart Craig, who did the production design. You actually have an insane team making this film. Like, it's actually way too good to be true. That's one of the reasons why I appreciate this film so much. It's like the attention to detail and the craft here is really amazing. Let me just go a little bit further. By the way, this is one of my favorite scenes in all of Harry Potter. This one. It's Harry's first day, and the camera just moves across the beds, and you can see that his bed is empty. So you first see, you see Ron, and he's just by himself here, and she's looking out the window, and John Williams' amazing score is playing, and you can see the water outside, and like this has nothing to do with the plot. Like, I think many modern films would look at a scene like this and go, you know what? It doesn't fit the runtime. Let's cut this out. Like, we don't actually, like, you cut this scene out and the plot remains exactly the same. In fact, it's probably more efficient to remove the scene, because you remove the scene, quicker pacing, you get through the story quicker, and the plot remains the same, you get the same information. But if you cut the scene out, the story doesn't remain the same. The plot is the same, but the story isn't. Like, you might be like, well, what's the difference between a story and a plot? Plot is basically just like the beat for beat things that are happening, Harry meets this guy, and then he meets that guy, and then he does this, and which results in him doing the next thing, and then on and on and on. So it's like the 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the plot. The story, though, is how these particular events actually affect the characters. So the character arc of how the character starts at the beginning of the film and how he's changed at the end of the film. That's the story. That's not plot. The plot is supposed to make sure that the story happens, but I think this scene is crucial to the story. it's crucial to the character of Harry. Nothing to do with the plot, though. Well, obviously something to do with the plot, but you could cut it out and it wouldn't change the plot. And this is one of my favorite scenes. It's actually, sorry, I'm going to be a bit even more nerdy now. But there's a director who does Japanese animation. His name is Hayao Miyazaki. You're probably familiar with him. He's done Spirited Away, and he's done a lot of like great Japanese animations. He actually has a name for scenes like this. He calls it Ma, and he basically explains it by saying like it's the moment between a clap. So like you go out to clap, and then before you clap, you actually it's like the moment in between. And you can go watch a video of him explaining it, but basically like there's these little world building, like not world building, but yeah, world building. It's these little scenes that just take place in the world that you could completely cut out and it doesn't change the plot. But by having them, you feel like the world is more alive. Like it's like a slice of life shot or a slice of life scene in the entire movie. You know, I think many of the best films in the world have scenes like this. Star Wars, the original trilogy, has scenes like this where they're just, for example, in Empire Strikes Back, when Han Solo is like, you know, they're just in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon and they're looking at the screen and they're just, you know, looking for places to go. Like that scene could very easily have just him been like, that scene could have easily just have been him turning on the screen and going, okay, we're going over there, and then scene ends. That's the plot. But so much of it is just them kind of waiting in the cockpit. You hear the sounds of the cockpit as they're like floating in space. Scenes in Dagobah in Empire Strikes Back where he's with Yoda, like little scenes like that where you're just, you know, you kind of pause, you take a break from the plot and you're just in the world and it just makes you feel like the world is real for a scene or two. So this is one of my favorite ones in Harry Potter. One thing that I would like, here, actually, again, visual effects wise. So many people are aware that this scene here with Neville, where he goes up on the broom and he flies around the castle, it's very bad CGI. And what I've done is I've basically shortened it and I've tried to kind of clean it a bit here and there, to clean up the green screen a little bit and make the scene a bit more palatable for you guys and myself. But basically, like, yeah, there are scenes and shots where the CGI is bad, like this one. But, because you can't remove all of it. You'd have to have some of it in there just for the story. But much of it I removed just for the... But still having it make sense and, like, the sequence playing out the way it does. Like, the information is still there. Like here, obviously, I cut this one short. Like this particular shot here, where he goes and like once he gets caught on the thing, the spear. Once he gets caught on the spear, in the actual film, he like hangs there for a little bit before they cut, and it's just really bad CGI, and it's obviously a CG double. It's not the actual actor. They didn't actually put the actor on top of a castle and had him hang on a spear. So what I've done is I've just cut this a bit shorter than it was. And then you immediately cut to this shot here, where they're all looking up at him, instead of having him stay there with the CG double longer for no reason. And then when you cut back to him then they actually have the actual actor with a close-up, and it's not the CG double anymore. So that's one of the like little details that I've actually, because I'm very like, I edit very slowly, because I'm like very detail oriented, and it's little details like this that I think just make it so much better and more believable if you just shorten this scene a little bit and, you know, here and there. And yeah, there when he was falling, I actually just sped the scene up a little bit. Like we needed to have the scene of him falling, and it looked very bad CG wise. So what I did was just like from the start of his fall to like the middle, I just shortened it by speeding up the clip. So it's just a little less time that you spend with the bad CG.
Oh dear, it's a broken wrist.
But not enough that you kind of notice it. It's just like little details here and there. Here, yeah. So in the troll sequence in the bathroom, here is something that I did. So the CG on the troll is one of the worst ones in the series as well. And what I did was I shortened it, cut out some of it, and made the impact stronger by having, instead of having like a character lifting up their arm and then you see the arm going all the way and then he hits it. It's more of like cutting the in between. So you still get the story, you still get the impact. In many ways, I actually think it's more impactful by having this cut. But I removed some of the like janky CG. As you saw there, when he put the wand in the troll's nose, it immediately cuts away, and it doesn't feel jarring. It works, but in the actual scene, is like it lingers a couple of seconds too long, in my opinion. Like there, when he took Harry and he like held him upside down. There was a couple of seconds where he just held him there before they cut to the close-up of Harry. I just shortened the scene a little bit.
Anything! Whoa! Anything! Hurry up! Swish and flick. Thank God.
This is actually a really great story moment, actually, in the film as well. You know, you've got Ron, who wasn't able to do Wingardium Leviosa, and Hermione, who was like obviously very good at it and teased him a bit by wasn't teasing him, but basically was trying to teach him how to do it, but she was irritating to Ron, and they obviously by this point in the film they're not friends. Like he hurt her feelings, and she was hurt, and that's that's the reason she's in there in the first place. She was in there crying, and then she actually teaches him finally in the end, for when he needs it the most. She actually teaches him how to do the spell, and he saves her, and then they become friends. It's a great character arc there for the relationship. Yeah. Just little details here and there that I remove the CG, but it still works. And I love that as well. Like you could see the the smoke that came from the ground. That was real smoke that they obviously used in the set, and like the water that's coming from the sink there, and you can see her clothes being really dirty and like the walls. I love the aesthetic of these films, and I love that they're using, even though they use CG trolls and CG snakes and whatever, they're actually integrating it with real practical elements. Because I think nowadays, if you're gonna do a CG troll and the CG troll falls down to the ground, and there's supposed to be smoke that comes out of the ground, not out of the ground, but shoots up in the air, they would probably use CG smoke. And I really love the fact that they just use practical smoke for this scene, and for Harry Potter films in general. They use a lot of practical elements with the CG to make them look good. And I think that's one of the reasons why, by just changing details a little bit here and there in this film, just shortening CG scenes here and there when it made sense, and like cutting around certain things, it actually made the visual effects look really good all of a sudden. It went from really bad to like, oh, actually it looks great, because they integrated it so well with the rest of the scene. Like it falls down and there's real smoke popping up. It kind of like in Jurassic Park. In Jurassic Park, the dinosaur. A lot of people talk about how the dinosaur looks so good all these years later, and one of the reasons is because they did so much practically as well. You know, like you'd have a CG dinosaur running, but then you'd cut to a close-up of the face of the dinosaur smashing into a car, but that thing that was actually smashing into the car would be a practical skull of the dinosaur, and then they would cut back to a wide shot, and it would be a practical large suit, and then and then it would move really fast, and then it would cut back to CG, and like they would be cutting back and forth between real elements and the CG, which just makes it look better. And I do think that this film does a really good job of that as well. It has that approach of like integrating real practical elements with the visual effects. So even if the visual effects are bad, you kind of believe that they're in this place, they're in the world. Like I say, like the smoke elements and stuff like that. One thing though that I would say is, yeah, well, let's just move on. I think that's basically what I was going to say. Like here, I think, like this shot here, like his feet are practical. And his hands there, you can see like his hands in the, here. Like those are his fingers with nails and stuff. Like they actually built the thing. So even though when it was moving, it was CG and stuff, like there's a lot of practical elements as well that they're cutting in, like back and forth between. So if you just clean up a little bit the visual effects, you actually end up having a pretty good, believable element in the story.
Is it dead? I don't think so. Just knocked out.
And then, one thing I added in as well was, after the scene, like this, I think this might be practical. Like this particular shot, because you can see like the hair on his head. Like I think this is practical as well. They probably just built like a puppet. But this scene, so this is the scene that takes place right after the actual troll sequence, and this is a scene that isn't in the theatrical version. This is an extended edition scene, and it is one of my favorite extended edition scenes, so I definitely included it in the magical edition. And I think it's so crucial to the development of the relationship between these characters. And I'm going to show you the scene, and then I'm going to talk
Save
about it.
her life? Mind you, she might not have needed saving if you hadn't insulted her. What a friend's fool.
Like that. You know, you see the chemistry between these actors, you know? Like, Harry and Ron are, like, debating or arguing, right? And she's, like, really proud, you know? She's, like, she agrees with Harry. And then Ron turns and he's like, well, what are friends for? And she smiles. Like, this moment, like, these types of details between the relationships of these characters is what makes these films special. It's what makes these films, like, enjoyable. We love watching their friendship on screen. And the fact that I believe these actors that are 11 years old, 10, I think Emma Watson was 10, I think Daniel was 11, and I think Rupert was 12. Like, I feel like modern movies nowadays, they don't do this. You know, like, they tell us in modern movies, oh, yo, these two characters here, they're best friends. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then the actors that they've hired just have no chemistry, and the dialogue is just terrible, and they're just stiff. And then these 10-year-olds, an 11-year-old, and a 12-year-old is just, you know, these are just like Leonardo DiCaprio's on screen. It's really crazy how they're able to, and obviously a lot of it has to do with the directing and editing and stuff. But it's believable. It works, and I think it's so crucial to have these like little moments where you just, you know, these wholesome friendship moments that is the theme of the entire franchise. The theme of the entire franchise is friendship, love, and I think removing that from the theatrical version is a mistake. I think these little, like I said, again, this is a scene you could remove. It doesn't change the plot at all. You could cut from the troll sequence to the dinner scene, and nothing changes plot-wise. But character-wise, the way we look at the characters, you know, that type of stuff, that changes. And I think that's something that a lot of modern films kind of overlook. But I think it's absolutely crucial for the audience to be able to attach to these stories.
Take a bit of toast, mate. Go on. Ron's
You've proven yourself against.
That's what the dog...
Yeah, again, with the Quidditch stuff, the visual effects don't look the best, so I just kind of went in and just tried to clean it up. I didn't do much, to be fair, but I just little details here and there at times, but most of it I just kind of kept as is. Yeah, like as you can see, the visual effects are just still there. You know, the sequence is basically the way it was originally. Yeah, for this scene, for the Hagrid scene, there's a scene where basically the trio is interacting with Hagrid, and there's obviously a green screen behind them because Hogwarts is behind them, and like every time they cut from Hagrid to them, it looks really bad. So what I did was I tried to clean that up as well.
How many people wander around with dragon eggs in their pocket? Why didn't I see it before?
So this is something that I edited here.
Hagrid, who gave
Like
you
this
the-
shot here. Like this looked worse in the actual film. And it still looks like green screen, to be fair, but it looks much better than, in my opinion, much better than it did before. Like I tried to do the green screen a bit better, tried to fix the lighting a little bit, tried to just make the background feel more like they're actually standing there
What's
and
it?
not on a green screen
I don't
stage.
know. I never saw his face. He kept his hood up.
This stranger though.
And this one here, like I cut in a little bit because in the actual scene, it's kind of odd. They do this crop in the actual scene where you can see like 1/4 of Ron's face, and he's just standing there. I'm like, why? Like, it's obvious that they cropped in, but why would they crop in and then just stop on Ron's face like that? That's ridiculous. So I just cropped it a little bit more, which was better, obviously, for the green screen, and then it made this shot just look better because it didn't have Ron just standing there like, hey guys.
You two must have talked.
So yeah, I removed that as well.
He wanted.
You're the young.
If you guys want to watch the Magical Edition, link is in the description. I think it's already yeah, it's uploaded. It's done. So check it out, and once you see this, give me your thoughts on it. Tell me what you guys think. Once that's done, let me know if you're interested in the next films, because I'm working on all the films. I want to make them as magical as possible. I want John Williams' music to continue consistently. I want the leitmotifs, the themes of the first films to continue into the later films, to make them actually I want it to be consistent. I want the tone to be consistent, but I also want the tone to evolve, and I want the story to evolve. So if you're interested, subscribe, like, do all that type of stuff, and then watch the next video when I upload that, and let me know what you guys think in the comments. And remember, Reddit, r/AdamTeiches on Reddit. Just trash me. Just tell me how awful my camera is, and how I have a zit on my face and stuff. Just tell me. I just want the more horrendous, the better. All right. Thank you. Bye.